Last week, using the story of the prodigal son, we established how we activate sonship. But there's something that must be emphasized here. Be careful not to see the prodigal son that has been clothed and given a signet ring by his father and call him a pig or filth. Be very mindful not to see Rahab in the promised land and still wondering how much he charges for short time, or Mary with Jesus and despise her because she's demon possessed. Be careful not to cast aspersion on one that has activated sonship. So back to our topic. I serve God not as a servant, but as a son. You see, the idea of servanthood was a borrowed concept from the law. And remember, before the law, before their exodus, God called them sons. But because of their experience in Egypt, they always saw themselves as servants. Why it is very important to point out the difference is that the idea of servanthood makes it possible for a servant to lose favor or the love of his master, but a son doesn't. A typical example is that you can sack even the most loyal staff for theft, but when it comes to a son, the best you can do is to hide the purse. The Spirit of God that we have received is not the spirit that binds us as servants, but one that has liberated and adopted us as sons. What is the difference between a son and a servant? Number one, servanthood is based on eye service, but a son is a son in and out of sight. Number two, a servant does not enjoy the privilege of unlimited access. Protocol has to be observed, but all protocols are suspended when a son wants to meet with his father. Number three, a servant may have to serve diligently just to obtain the favor of his master, but the son knows he is the father's will. It goes beyond him or his father. It is an inheritance, a transgenerational agenda. So it is servanthood to think that you have to earn the love of the master. What this means is that a servant's authority is limited, meaning he loses authority when he's out of favor of his master, but the son can still pull the full weight of his office in and out of favor because the father knows to dishonor the son is to humiliate the father. Number four, a servant may be careless with words because he knows it doesn't hold water, but the son knows the name he carries and the implication of his utterances, so he's careful with words. And lastly, servanthood is based on law and compliance, but sonship is based on law and obedience. You see, the world is waiting for the manifestations of sons. We have seen servants and men of God as pastors, as politicians in government, in different parastatus and in institutions, but we are yet to see sons. You see, a servant's mentality is self. His loyalty can go for the highest bidder and dependent on who is watching, but to a son, is beyond himself. He's on a mission of propagation in and out of sight, and he cannot be bought over because it's family business. Do not buy into the lie of the enemy. You are a son, not a servant. God bless you.